Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Hillary Clinton, no less, has accused the former UKIP leader Nigel Farage of stoking up a rising tide of hardline right-wing nationalism and whipping up anti-immigrant sentiment to win the Brexit vote. Mr. Farage was campaigning with Donald Trump in Mississippi, and we'll have more on the US contest in a moment. But closer to home, whatever has become of UKIP, embroiled in leadership squabbles and petty infighting, despite pulling off the political shock of a generation? Here's Fatima Manji.
Romford is Brexit land. 70% of people here voted to leave. In the 2015 elections, UKIP came second, increasing their vote share by 18%. But where will these voters head now?
With Britain set to leave the European Union and the Prime Minister herself having declared Brexit means Brexit, many will ask just what is the point of UKIP? And beyond that, if it's to survive, how will it do so without the personality of Nigel Farage?
We spoke to Leave voters. None of them could name a single candidate currently running for UKIP leader.
I think they've done what they said they were going to do, and they've changed the whole system.
You mean to get us out of the European Union?
Absolutely, quicker the better.
What do you think of UKIP?
I like him.
Who's him?
UKIP, politician.
Do you know any of the candidates?
Not really. I've seen some but on the telly, but I didn't recognise any of them.
And I mean, you voted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that we are going to be out, do you think there's any point for UKIP to exist then?
Not really.
Well, I suppose they could be useful because they might be a reasonable opposition. I don't think Labour's doing anything much.
They'll make policies that they don't keep. Do you know what I mean? They say we're going to do this, that. It never
They're all out
changes.
to line their own pockets. What? Sorry?
UKIP. What do you think
What's
of
that?
UKIP? The political party, the UK Independence Party?
I ain't got a clue. What it is.
Never heard of them.
No.
So here's the lineup. Bill Etheridge, Philip Broughton, Liz Jones, Lisa Duffy, and the empty chair is for Diane James, the favourite, who says there's no need for her to debate the others. Meanwhile, Mr. Farage has been busy campaigning for Donald Trump.
And we did it. We made June the 23rd our Independence Day when we smashed the establishment.
And incurring the ire of Hillary Clinton.
One of Britain's most prominent right-wing leaders, a man named Nigel Farage, who stoked anti-immigrant sentiments to win the referendum.
Whoever follows in Mr. Farage's footsteps will need to think carefully about the party's direction, how to keep current UKIP voters and attract new ones.
I think UKIP will increasingly come under pressure from Theresa May and the new Conservative government, who are talking about things that UKIP voters like. Grammar schools, Brexit means Brexit, let's restrict free movement. So if Theresa May really does a pincer movement there on the UKIP electorate, that's really going to leave the Labour areas, where of course under a possibly re-elected Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party is really going to struggle, I think. So we may actually see the Farage successor perhaps conclude that there's more potential for UKIP in the north than there is in the south.
And there's a further threat. Some UKIP backers, even the party's most influential donor, have talked of setting up a new political movement. UKIP's next leader will need to convince supporters the party isn't a spent force.
And we're joined now by one of the UKIP leadership candidates, Lisa Duffy.
Lisa.
What's UKIP for?
UKIP
Lisa,
is...
I beg your pardon.
That's
sorry.
okay.
Wrong on autocue, and I just read it. Very sorry.
That's okay. UKIP is more relevant now, I believe, than it's ever been. We have achieved so much with so little. We forced David Cameron into giving us a referendum, and we've really worked hard, and we've achieved a great Brexit result, but we haven't quite got Brexit yet. So UKIP must keep that pressure on. There's 17.4 million people really waiting for us to make sure that Theresa May and her team deliver on that.
And you don't trust them?
I don't trust them yet, and I personally would rather see the repeal of the 1972 European Communities Act and leave now so that our Parliament sets the agenda.
So forget all the
EU.
trade treaties, just...
I think we've got people who want to trade with us now. We've got countries that want to trade now. Why can't we just get on with that? And I think there's a frustration within our party and within some people that voted leave that they want to see some action now. So whilst I appreciate, you know, David Davis is in position, they've got work to do, I think a lot of our members would like to see it happening a little faster.
Now, your friend and colleague, Nigel Farage, is out there in America endorsing Donald Trump. Do you endorse Donald Trump?
I don't endorse Donald Trump. I don't endorse Hillary Clinton. I can understand why Nigel's gone out to America. You know, he wanted to get involved in other political events, and he's been going over to America over many years. Personally, our party has not endorsed one single candidate, and nor should it. We weren't happy that Obama came over here and started telling people how they should vote in the referendum. Why should we tell others? So
what do you think of his lines on
made.
Muslims, though, of extreme vetting of Muslim immigrants, of closing the door to Muslim immigrants you can't vet?
I think that's far too harsh. You know, as most people in UKIP now realise, I've put a positive vision forward for British Islam. We do need to understand that...
Positive? Are you sure it's positive?
Yes, I do.
You want to close Muslim schools, don't you?
I've got a lot of positives within the whole speech, and it's about fairness, it's about equality, it's about respect and integration. But what I think Donald Trump has done wrong is closing the door. I don't want to close any door to anyone. I want opportunities for all British Muslims.
When you say integration, is that why you want to ban the burqa in public places?
Never said ban the burqa at all. The vision is show your face in a public place.
That would mean no burqas, wouldn't it?
It also means no crash helmets, no hoodies,
no balaclavas, no scarves.
No, and it is about feeling safe and secure. You and I both know how each other are feeling at the moment because we can see our facial expressions. And I think that's very important moving forward, that our country feels safe.
And why do you want to only ban Muslim schools?
What we're looking at the moment in terms of the Muslim schools, and it is a short-term ban, once we realise and understand that Muslim schools aren't teaching our children that the word of the female is worth half that of a man, that homophobia is, you know, or homosexual shouldn't be in our country and that they should be illegal. It's about respect, and it's about teaching a whole well-rounded...
But other religious schools teach all sorts of things, you know, values that you may not agree with either, whether it's the Christian rights or
about the values.
Sikhs or Hindus or Jews or whoever.
Yeah, I think religion plays a huge part in all of our
So why do you want to
country.
single out Muslims?
Because we've got to think about where radicalisation comes from. Is it right that a school is teaching children that women aren't as important as men? I don't think that's right.
But do you think terrorism is coming from Muslim schools?
There has been some links, but I think we have to think... I think what we have to do is to look at the Muslim schools, and I have had an open letter from them inviting me to go to their schools, which I have accepted, and I would like to be...
Which are the links you were just saying?
Sorry?
What are the links you were just saying, that there have been links to terrorism?
There are... some of the research that's been done has shown that radicalisation can start at a very early age when they're not being taught a well-rounded education, and they're not teaching all values that we want to see in our schools. And I think that it's wrong to see books on shelves that talk about stoning and talk about the lack of respect for women, and I think that's wrong.
You don't like Sharia courts either, do you?
No.
What about Jewish courts?
Jewish courts at the moment, I haven't got an issue with the Jewish court.
What's the difference?
I think there's a very big difference. I think, you know, in terms of the Sharia law, we have to ban Sharia law in this country. And the Sharia courts, you know...
But what's the difference between
the word of a female...
Sharia settling divorce and a Jewish court settling a dispute?
Well, I don't feel it is right that the word of a female is only worth half that of a man in court. And that's not acceptable in this day and age. With the 21st century, my word should be exactly the same as yours. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make with this vision paper. But I'm also about a lot more for UKIP. I'm a very strong individual. I'm not afraid to stand up and be counted. I'm a big team player, and I've got a lot to offer this party moving forward.
We just had the story from France about burkinis. I mean, thinking about burqas.
Yeah.
When you look at that image of armed police telling a woman to take her clothes off, what do you think?
I think that is appalling. A burkini is just no different to you going onto the beach wearing a wetsuit. You know, some people, my father would be there with his jumper on, whatever the weather, so he would be wearing long-sleeve clothes. It doesn't cover the face. And for me, that's what I'm asking, is to show your face in a public place in areas of high security. Having someone come up to you on the beach to say, take that off, we don't like what you're wearing, that's not acceptable. But in terms of covering the face to make people feel more comfortable, that I don't have a problem with. But I certainly wouldn't expect armed police walking up to them and making people feel very, very insignificant.
Lisa Duffy, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for your time.
I've been getting away with it all